hi guys, a very good morning. Happy Saturday. I've just realised I haven't plugged my phone in, ready to turn you down to my hand. I hope you're all doing well. Happy Saturday. It's a bit dull and dreary here. I can see I've had the weather report from where everyone is. And we've got Tiffany from Australia. Good morning. Good morning, Alicia. Hi, Margaret, Camille. She says dull and grey here in Wiltshire. Good morning, Lucy. Hi, Jan. Very wet Western Supermare. I think we're all going to have soggy days, aren't we? So I'm going to use some amazing handbag charms today. Do excuse me while I just very quickly shut down all the notifications on my phone so we don't get interrupted. We've got some amazing opal beads. You might have seen the little picture just at the beginning of the beads that I'm going to use. Now, what I wanted to show you were various ways to get around using funky shaped beads. Sometimes you get these beads and they have funny old holes in them, funny little places for attachments, and I get emailed quite a lot of pictures and, you know, how on earth do I use this? So the amazing beads that we've got are opal, and as you can see, they've got the most fantastic finish. They look amazing against black. This out of the way, and then against a white background you of course have that opal finish. They are beautiful, really reflect the light, and I've got some amazing features. Some of them are a little bit peculiar. I mean, you know, are you going to know what to do with them? Wasn't sure, so I thought I would show you a few of my top tips and tricks with using them. I'm going to very quickly show you the website as well. As you know, stock tends to go quickly when we are on here. The crystals that we had yesterday, goodness me, that was super busy. Okay, so up to categories, down to Facebook tutorials, just as normal. Yesterday, I wonder if we've still got stock of it actually. If you saw yesterday, yep, looks like it's still there. I was using the 100-gram bag of premium crystals, $2.75, amazing value for money. We had to load more stock during the live. I'm going to use some of those today as well. So I think it's always nice when you get these bundles that we use them for various different things, because of course then you're just getting great value for money all the time. And I know what you've got in your stash. Now today we're going to be using the opal beads. Now it's £12 worth down to $5.99. You're going to get 11 feature beads and a string of the opal as well. Variety of shapes, and I'm going to show you, oh, if you sign up you get 10% off as well. I'm going to show you how to just use some of these shapes and make the most of them. Now unfortunately my tassels weren't included in my little bag of goodies for today's video. When I saw these I thought I want to do handbag charms with them, and I don't think you can have a handbag charm without a tassel. So you can get those as well, 75p, which is great value, and the keyring clasps themselves are only 50p. So there's a whole variety of colours. Now the tassels, those ones up at the top have the gold caps, these ones have the silver. So you can then mix and match them so that it is going to suit the colour findings that you're using, and then also the handbag charms as well. Good morning, Diana. Hi, Margaret, Lucy, Jan. Good morning, everyone. Lots of you here already, so we might as well get going. Now, I'm going to use a 0.5mm wire. Rachel says absolute bargain price. I know. We've had some amazing deals the last couple of days, haven't we? Been very lucky. I am going to use Jax. You behave yourself. Good morning, Jitty. Jax, you do crack me up. We're on one today already, aren't we? I'm going to use a 0.5mm wire as well. We were talking about those yesterday and the previous day actually, about doing wrapped loops. So with something like a handbag charm, it's going to be under a lot of strain, a lot of stress. You're going to have it on your handbag, maybe even on your key rings, which means it's going to get a lot of use. And then I don't know about you, but when I come home or I throw my keys into my bag, they get thrown in a jar on the side. And of course with your keys, you're going to be holding them a lot. So we need to make sure that everything is super secure today. So I'm going to be doing that by using the wire. Oh, Francis says it's pouring with rain in Perth. Good morning from a drizzling Hertfordshire, says Helen. My mum and dad literally arrived 3 minutes ago, so I'm so excited. They've come up from Hertfordshire this morning as well, and to not very much nicer weather either. Now these are your handbag charms. They come with a pin in the middle, which I think is fantastic. I haven't seen this with any of with any of the handbag charms actually that I've bought over the years. The pin is in the middle, which means that this little section is already open and you can actually just spring that open to get your keys on, which I think is fantastic. The amount of time I have spent trying to open these things up and then split my nails open as well, trying to get them open. Now your handbag charms that are in there, as you can see, they're a fantastic size, which means they're going to attach onto anything. I made my mum a turquoise handbag charm. I don't know if you remember when we last had the geometric rings, had handbag charms, and she says to me just now, well, what are you doing on today's video? I says, handbag charms. She says, oh, I need a bigger clasp on it, because the clasp that I did was a jewellery lobster claw clasp, and it's just a bit too small. Is Django popping in again today? He's already been in. John's already taken him out for a walk, so I think he's quite happy just chilling now with my parents, bless him. These are the colours that you have. You've got black, silver, gold and rose gold, so you can pick from any of those. My granddad says opals are unlucky because real opals react to temperature changes, so when they are cold they become loose in their setting, so people quite often lose them. Oh, I see. So like if you have them in a ring. Well, the good thing is with these I'm doing wrap loops and no setting, so we'll all be good. Only found kitties have the pin. Oh, yeah, Helen, I haven't seen that before on anything else. So really nice quality and just that little extra helping tip. Okay, so some of the beads that you're going to get, I mean, these are huge. They are going to make the best handbag charms because you need a feature. Oh, I can see Betty was probably asking about an order. Someone's just popped up to email through to the warehouse. We're all here, so if you ever have any other questions, then let us know. Morning, sir. I've just had some of the opal beads delivered this morning. They're beautiful, aren't they? Look at this. It looks like it's on fire in there, doesn't it? Look at the colours that you are getting in these. And I think this is why they're so fantastic for something like a handbag charm, because you're just going to use them and move them so much. So you're going to get 11 feature beads. Some of them are smaller in shape. You've got butterflies, you've got hearts, we've got lovely circles, you've got flowers, huge big feature beads that are going to be so easy to make things with. But because some of the shapes are a little bit obscure, bit of a feature, I thought I'll go through a few ways that I would use them. So I'm going to go with very simple. These beads that have the holes in the top. So we're going to make our own bail using the 0.5mm wire, so that you can then see any beads that don't have holes running through them. And they just have them on the top. We're going to see how to do those. These beads that have holes through the center. So again, sometimes when you're using head or eye pins, you might want to go straight through them and add some beads on. So I'm going to use the beads that were in the crystal bundle tomorrow that were on yesterday. Making up words now. These ones are quite straightforward because obviously you've got the holes running through them, so they're not too bad. But look at that colour. I just think it's amazing. You're going to have some real feature pieces and some amazing gifts as well. I think these are going to be fantastic for little gifts. Now you will also get your strand, although I've just cut mine, so I'll try and bring this in without showing, without it all falling off. You will get your strand of opal beads as well. And these actually fit perfectly in the middle of little bits and pieces like your hearts. Too big for these ones though, but you can of course have them dropping down as little features. Okay, so a couple of different things to do. With something like this, I'm going to attach a little hanging bead because it's not really big enough for me to get anything else into. So the heart actually here only has a hole running through the very top, like so. And so I'm just going to use my pliers. Now, sometimes you need a little bit of encouragement to get these through. So we're going to pop that through. And what that's going to do is give me a little hanging base in the very middle. We'll just turn a normal... Will we turn a normal or will I do a wrapped loop with this one? Let's do a normal loop with this one and then I'll show you the difference between a normal and a wrapped loop. So we're going to cut down and I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. So normally I would say leave 1 centimetre. Oh wow, good evening from Borneo Island. Hi Monica, how are you? Diane says, I bought 3 connector, 7mm. What do I use them for? don't know why I ordered useless Sarah or Kitty. Did you demo with them? I'm not sure what connector that is. If you send me a picture, I will give you my suggestions. Maybe we'll use them. Maybe that's why you got them. Okay, so three connectors of 7mm. I'm not sure. Okay, so turning a loop, just like we have done for the last couple of days, you can already see how versatile it is as a technique, as a skill to master. So now I've got my loop up at the top, and I've made sure that my loops are facing opposite directions. Can you see that? Because I want my bead to be hanging in the center underneath, and so that just gives a nice feature being able to see the loop. But up at the top, because I'm going to have a jump ring running through here, I want the loop going the other direction. And then onto a head pin, she says, here we are, onto a head pin, I'm then going to add on my bead. And this will just dangle really nicely in the center. So my opal bead, and again, we will bend to 90 degrees, cut and leave a centimetre. Now I want this loop to be very small, because if it's big, I'm worried it will hang down too low. So this is where you can just really start to learn with the materials that you are working with and adapt them to suit your need as well. So you can already see the difference between a head and an eye pin also. An eye pin is going to give you connectors top and bottom. Your head pin is going to give you that flush finish. And now with this loop, I'm just going to open this up. This is the tricky bit because you need to try and get in. I'm going to open it up, link it onto my drop through the center. I don't think I'm going to get my flat nose pliers in there, so I'm going to use the very tip of my round nose pliers and close that off. And how cute is that? So now you can have your heart. Obviously it's hard for me to show you hanging. In fact, I'll bring it up to this camera here. Let me just... So now you can see you've got that lovely opal heart, and this opal is just going to sit and hang in the middle, which is going to be absolutely gorgeous and give you that lovely little feature. And then when it comes to attaching them actually onto your handbag charms, we can just go for a jump ring, again, which I had here somewhere. Where on earth did my bag of jump rings go? If you were a jump ring, where would you be? There. Okay, did you ever get that? Can't see for looking. I've just ordered the big opal beads before they set out. Yeah, Jane, I think they're going to be super popular. The beads yesterday were phenomenal value for money. And we know when we do those big bundles at great prices, we know they go quick. So I think this will be the same. Jump ring, opening that up. I'm then going to pop that on. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can either pop it straight onto the actual handbag charm itself. This jump ring might be ever so small. No, I think we're good. And of course at the moment, because some of that is open, ready for my rings to go in, once you remove this, it's going to be the right size just to go round. And then you've got a gorgeous little feature. Now, as a gift, how adorable is that? And we are talking about inexpensive makes again. Christmas is coming. We're all tightening those purse strings. We want them to be impactful and handmade, but inexpensive. That's the key. Okay, so there is one of them. How to use your little bead that only has one hole up in the top and those lovely little centres. These ones here, the little piggy snout. We're going to make it look a lot more glamorous than that. So the beads that I had yesterday in my crystal bundle, I found two that sit in there perfectly, and I really like the pink. Now this is where I'm gutted. I'm missing my tassels, because what I would be doing with this one is attaching these beads on and putting a pink tassel underneath it. I think that's going to be adorable. And for this, I'm going to use my 0.5mm wire. So I'm going to take the wire through the base. So this actually has a hole running all the way through it. Come on. Like so. Okay. So it's going to run all the way through. Just run your material through first of all to make sure that there's nothing blocking those holes. I'm going to straighten this up so that I have as straight a piece of wire as I can. Like so. So just running that through my hand, warming it up, Jax has got my tassels. Well done, Jax. Good morning, everyone. A bit late today, trying to get the housework done before my sister arrives. Been a bit slack lately. Me too, and I did exactly the same thing yesterday. Ran around the house like a mad woman in the morning doing upstairs, and then last night doing downstairs because my parents have just arrived. So what I do when I am running beads through these, I'm going to sit it in the hole, and you want to make sure that your bead is big enough that it will sit directly in the hole, but it will also fall through it, because that way, if it sits too flush to the top, you're not going to be able to access the hole of the actual bead. You could add a chain tassel. Yeah, you could, Lorna. Great idea. So then I have lined up, and it does help if you have beads like your crystals where you can actually see where the hole is running. So you can see the little line of the beads, which makes it that little bit easier. And again, I'm just going to back up that wire, drop that bead into place, and run it through. And there you go. Okay, so that's going to give you your beads. Now we're going to do a wrapped loop, top and bottom, to make sure that this stays into place. So I'm going to leave a good couple of inches, and then I'm going to take my round nose pliers. Now, to be honest, I'm going to take this off because the beads are going to fall out anyway. I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to bring the wire all the way around, rotate the plier around a little bit. And again, I'm making them quite large because I want this to attach directly onto the ring. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit big. So there is my loop. Now I'm going to hold on with my flat nose pliers onto here. I've got my wire crossing over the top. Turning to my flat nose pliers, I'm just going to hold that loop in place. And then I'm going to take this extra wire and wrap it around the pin. So I'm going to hold on to it with my pliers. And I'm allowing these coils, oh dear, I'll straighten up that loop in a sec. Allowing my pliers to pull it quite tightly so that these coils, and if I hold it up nice and close, you should be able to see. And I'm just going to neaten this up by popping my pliers back in there and pushing it onto the roundness of the tool, which has again given me that nice neat loop. And it's wrapped, so it's not going to go anywhere. Now we'll go through the little fiddly bit again. Wire in, popping that straight through the bead. Now it went very well a moment ago. What's the bet? It's going to be a little bit trickier this time. We're good. We're good. So there is my wrapped loop on the bottom. Beads all the way through. So then this time we're going to knock it back ever so slightly just to give us that little space. Rotate the pliers around, which will give me my loop. Hold on to that loop with your flat nose pliers, and then you just fill that little gap in between your bead with the leftover wire. Might get one more rotation in there. Yeah. And then cutting that nice and flush, as flush to the bead as you can get it. And then you can see sometimes you just get that little nick of wire. I'm just going to pop that in, make sure I've got a lovely finish. And then rotate that around so that they are facing the same direction. And there you go, you've got another connector bead with those gorgeous beads inside. You can see you've actually got that little bit of movement. They're going to spin around, move around, and it just gives some lovely texture. And then all you need on the bottom of those is a pink tassel, just for you, Jax. There we go. Okay. You could also use your cord. You could also use your cord to run through those. So you could weave through it and then do a nice little plait at the bottom, or leave some of the cords being a nice little connector. Okay, I think we're okay with larger beads with holes running through them. We know what we're going to do. You could do the same concept as a wrapped loop, obviously without adding in the beads. Did you say you're going to make a bail as well? Yes, right now. So the bail that I'm going to do, and I could do two if you would like, beads that have holes running up through the top. What do you do with them? We need to create our own bail. So we've covered ones with holes. We've covered ones with holes running right through them, easy peasy. These ones, you've actually got a bar hole running along through the top. And on this one, you've just got that little connector up at the top. So you can use pinch bails. So they are the little devices that are almost triangular. You'll see them on a lot of jewelry. Your pinch bails will go in and then pinch around that hole, and that gives you then a hanging device to thread onto whatever it might be, your chains and all that sort of thing. With something like this, we need it to be super secure. We're going to make our own because I also want to do a wrap loop on it. So again, taking 0.5mm wire, and I've got quite a lot here, but it makes it easy to show you as well. Okay, so we're going to come up through the hole itself. So I've got equal wire on either side. And then I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, and this is just to give you the best and neatest finishing touch. I'm going to pinch those together, and can you see now that's just given me the nicest, neatest finish around those beads, and it's going to hug it beautifully. So it looks like it's meant to be there. That's what we need to achieve. Then I'm going to switch to my round nose pliers, and we'll make our wrapped loop. So just like we did a moment ago, I'm going to knock the wire back ever so slightly. What's that, like 30 degrees? Not even. And then we're going to bring the wire up and over all the way around the top of that plier, and obviously I can't go any further, so you then rotate the plier around to expose the bottom base. And can you see that that will give you a lovely wrapped circle, your loop. Now I'm not going to switch to my flat nose pliers to hold on to this one. I'm going to keep it in place because I've got double the width of my wire, which is going to be extra secure. But because I've got double the width, if I now squash it, it's going to move them slightly and they won't sit flush to each other. So I might get a little bit of extra wire and it's not going to be a lovely loop. So I'm going to keep it in my round nose pliers. And then I always just make sure that the wire itself, can you see there where it's crossing over and down? They're just sat really neatly next to each other. Okay. So now I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, so I'm holding them as a pair, making sure that they stay as a pair. Should have straightened this one up a little bit more. And then wrapping that around. So as I wrap, I'm trying not to do death grip on the round nose pliers because I don't want to dent that. And I am pulling away from me and also pulling down, which is just going to give me those lovely coils up at the top. And then with my flat nose, with my flush cutters, I'm going to go in as far as I can to get a nice neat finish. And then you can just use your round nose pliers just to do tiny little pincy movements and follow that round as well. And I'm just going to pop my pliers in and straighten that up ever so slightly. And there you go. So that's how you can make your wire wrapped bail. So that's now super secure. That's not going to go anywhere. And again, adding on your jump ring and popping it onto your beads. Or you could add them onto the bottom of something. That would be really nice in there. Now, connecting before you wrap is really important. So for example, if I now connect these with a jump ring, I've got a loose connection. The whole point of doing wrapped loops is that they're secure and they're not going to come out of the way. They're not going to open up at all. So by adding in a jump ring, I'm adding in a link that has a gap in it. So they might come undone. So I'll show you how to connect them on together. Could you use a beaded bail for the beads with a bigger central hole, like the one we did with a hematite donut? Yes, you can. Because what you could do is, and I think I'm reading that right, Lorna. Let me cut this bit off. So for example, if you have a donut, so no hole in there at all. So just pretend that doesn't have that there. How do you attach it on? You could do exactly this beaded bail in that way, but what you would have is slightly exposed wire through the middle. So you could pinch it together and do that. And then you could have your bail coming out of the top. If you wanted to make more of a feature of it, you could wrap around a couple of times. So give yourself a little bit of extra wire, bring this one through, and then you've always got double wire on everything, like so. Or you could use several strands. You can use as many strands as you want. And then that would give you extra security and reinforcement as well. What was I going to show you to do? Attaching wrapped loops. Okay, so I'll do it on this one. So let's say, for example, I'm going to put this one above this and I want those wrapped loop connectors. We'll do our normal wrapped loop because this one will be attached to the top of our handbag charm. So let's do this one so that it stays nice and round. This wire is a little bit softer than I was hoping, and I think it's just because my hands are so warm and I've been playing with it so much. So let's do our normal wrapped loop up at the top, just like we did at the start of our little piggy snout bead. So as I'm pulling, I'm also pulling up to get it really close to the middle pin, and I'm rotating it around as well. So I'm going to take this one off, cut it really nice and close, use those pliers just to pinch in, give it a nice little rotation. I'm going to flatten that one up a bit as well, and then in we go. Okay, so this top bit will be attached up here, so I don't need to connect it on. I can just thread that on afterwards. Or, of course, you can do it with your jump ring, but it defies the whole point because then you're putting on a loose connection. Okay, so wrapping them and attaching them. So we're going to take our pliers, create that first little rotation of our loop, like so. And this is where you have to remember to attach it. You will get carried away when you're doing wrapped loops, and you will just find that you've made a bead that's wrapped and is attached to nothing, because you do just get engrossed in the kind of process of it. Carol, how I wish I had your hand, Sarah. I would be in a right mess now. Practice makes perfect, Carol. Morning all. Time ran away with me, says Dorothy. Good morning, Dorothy. Good morning, Joke, as well. Hello. Okay, amazing. I think I'm caught up with all of the comments. So I have threaded this straight onto my exposed wire, and now I'm going to use my round nose pliers just to grab hold of that. So my beads are connected, like so. I'm going to hold on to this, and now I'll finish the wrap. Because, of course, you want it to be nice and neat. Started a bit loose on that one. Try not to undo your wire, because just remember, the more you play with it, the looser and the weaker it is going to become. Let's trim this one off. My wrap loop on this one is very messy. And if you weren't here watching me, I would be disgusted with myself and I would redo it. But there you go. You have connecting loops. So they, no matter how much stress you put on it, are not going to come undone. So just remember, you're making that first loop up at the top, threading on your beads and connecting them together. And they make beautiful chains because you do still have that movement. So if you're using very heavy beads, glass beads like this, I mean, they're a weighty old size. It's going to be... Oh, Diane sent me a message with the connector. Amazing. I will have a look after this. Because that's going to be for your handbag charms and everything, you know it's going to have a lot of stress. You know it's going to have that weight on it as well. So especially if you are using special beads, heavy beads, then they are the ways to do it. Okay, now, is there anything else that anyone would like to see? I think I've covered using all of the features of our gorgeous opal beads. I kept making that mistake in my wire wrapped necklace. I'll show you why it is. It's that first loop and rotation that isn't tight enough. And if that first loop and rotation slips down the pin and leaves that gap, you're not going to be able to nudge it up again. So let's show you how to correct it ever so quickly. Wrap that one the wrong way around. I always make sure that my wire is over the top. So you can see that my wire that's coming round is up on top. That's going to make it easier. And then making sure that this wire is at a right angle from my loop, like so. So my pin is there and my wire is at a right angle. If it's down here, you're not going to get a nice loop and you're not going to be able to do a very flat and horizontal turn. And the flatter and more horizontal you can make that rotation, the neater it's going to be. So you want to make sure that that's at 90 degrees. And it's also why holding then your pliers like this are so useful. Holding your flat nose pliers on your loop is so useful because it's going to give you that flat base and good grip. So I'm actually bringing the wire. Can you see I'm not quite horizontal? I've actually gone past it because I want to make sure that it will go up as high as it can. And then I'm going to bring it round and I am dragging it. I can actually feel that first coil of my wire. So you want it as neat and as near to it as possible. And the slower you do it, the more control you're going to have over it. Linda says, I'll have to watch later as I'm making flowers, another craft you started me on, Sarah. Sorry, Linda. Although I'm not sorry because I bet you absolutely love it. The flowers are just fabulous. So missed the start. Have you done one with the horizontal hole through the top, the flower one? This one, yes, we made a bail. So if you've got, I'll do another one because this hole is slightly different. We made a bail for beads that have holes through the top. I'll do this one for you next because we've still got a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm going to hold it nice and flat. Now I can feel my wire rubbing together. So I am pulling towards me. And can you see again, I've gone past the pliers because that way I can make sure, and if I bring it right up, can you see them sitting right next to each other? I'm always making sure that I'm pulling down and up at the same time. Whereas if I just take this now and go, oh, let's wrap it around there, let's bring it around, you're going to get those gaps. You're going to get that messy finish. So by doing it nice and slowly, taking it up and past, you're going to get them there. Let's get rid of that ugly bit that we did. Nice and neat in, and then you can use those pliers just to pinch and wrap it around, and there you'll have a beautiful wrapped loop. So I really hope that helps. Angela, hope that helps. Okay, through the top, let's do one last little bail, and then I think we've covered all of your feature beads you're going to be getting home, and then you'll know exactly what to do with them. Okay, so straight through up to the middle. So into the middle of my wire, and you want to make sure that you can have the neatest finish. So I'm going to use my fingers. This is a 0.5mm wire. I'm going to use my fingers to mould around the shape of my bead. And then, so I get that accuracy, I'm going to change to my flat nose pliers. In fact, I could probably even just pinch this one because it's quite wide. I'm going to pinch it right at the top. So with beads like these, what you're doing is basically making a coat hanger shape, okay? So it's going to go through and then you're pinching it together, and that could be neater, so I am going to use my pliers because that will give me precision, and that's what we like. Then we're going to make our wrap loop. So I'm now going to use both my wires together as a pair. Oh, I just pulled that up and open. I'm going to use both my wires as a pair to create my loop. So I'm going to hold on to them. I'm going to come back ever so slightly just to get that first rotation. Up and around the pliers, moving that around to expose the base and pulling that in like so. So both of those are making the loop, and I'm going to keep them on. So you can see already they're both beginning to separate and just slightly open up. If I now hold those with my flat nose pliers, it's going to do that even more and we won't get a nice neat finish. So I'm going to hold them in and keep it nice and flat. And did you see there, my bead was hanging down like so. So I'm just going to hold onto the wire a little bit tighter so that my bead will sit nice and flush. And then you're going to take your flat nose pliers and just make sure that both of those wires are sat nice and flush next to each other. You can see that they're kind of hugging. I want to keep those together and I'm going to start wrapping. Now this is a larger bead, plus it's dangling down a little bit, so it's going to be that little bit harder. I don't think I'm going to get my pliers in. I'm going to rotate this around, so I'm just using my fingers to wrap this. But can you see, so that I've always got the strength in my hand, I'm rotating it around. squeezing those together just to neaten them up ever so slightly. Let's bring that back so that I can get in and cut it flush. And then I can neaten it up and pinch it together. And again, tiny little movements, tiny little pinchy movements and rotations round are going to give you that nice finish on your wire. And I'm going to neaten that up ever so slightly by pulling it up. And there you go. You've got that gorgeous look. Aren't they beautiful? Really fun to use. And then obviously this now means you can use any of the feature beads that we've got in there because I've shown you how to use all those funky holes and funny turns. Hope it's all good. I bought a bundle of wires from Totallybeads that are not labelled, so I have no idea the thickness or the gauge. I'm not sure. Normally we have stickers on all of ours. Was it definitely from Totallybeads? If you get in touch with them, send them a picture and we will have a little look. Look at that price. I know, Jax, it's amazing, isn't it? So it's £13 worth of your, £12 worth of your beads. They are down to £5.99 today. So that is 11 of your feature beads and your strand of your circles as well. So you're going to be able to do not quite a necklace. I've probably taken about 4 off of here. A couple of bracelets, add in a bit of chain. You could make a lovely necklace out of them as well. And then of course your handbag charms are 50p and your tassels are 75. So you are talking about just a couple of pound and you will have some beautiful gifts. I hope that really helps with not just our glass opal beads, but also with any funny shaped beads, funky shapes that you have got. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to see you tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? Can't remember. Let me just have a look at my diary and I shall tell you. Tomorrow, macrame bracelets. To some of my faves. I've got some amazing beads to show you tomorrow. They are beads, glass beads that have the opal finish, like today, but they also have grooves in them to make it super easy to sit in macrame. And I also have beads that are faux malachite as well, I think it is. So yes, join me tomorrow. We'll have some amazing feature beads again. I'm pretty sure some amazing bundles too. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Is today Saturday? Yes. Enjoy Saturday. I'm going to go and have a lovely day with my parents. John and Beth are off out for the day, so I'm just going to have some nice time with them on my own. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. Stay safe, whatever you're doing. I'm sorry if you are in lockdown, but get those beads out and just get a little bit creative. Keep that mind busy. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Bye, everyone. Take care.